Join ForumIAS Academy, trusted by hundreds of toppers, including IAS Rank 1 𝐂𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐥.
Hello friends, this is Vijay. I welcome you all to ForumIAS Hindu Daily. In our today's news discussion, we are going to discuss some 5 topics in the display. The first topic, new bills and principal codes for criminal law reforms. So the government, they came up with certain reforms in the criminal law aspects, right? So this is what we are getting today. It came in the editorial section. Then secondly, we are having an article which is related to Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, U-turn. Actually, they propose to club all the environmental related organizations into an integrated organization, but now they've withdrawn from their proposals. Okay, so this is the second article we are getting. Thirdly, we are having an article related to Bihar's caste-based survey. So why is Bihar's caste-based survey is facing the challenge? So slightly, it will be having a political tilt. So let us have a brief about Bihar's caste-based survey in our today's discussion. Then fourthly, it is an article related to the green mobility. The cabinet note for 10,000 e-buses in 169 cities. So this is the fourth article we are having. Then lastly, it is an initiative. Government, they came up with a Vishwakarma scheme, which is going to aid some 30 lakh artisan families in the upcoming 4 years. So this is the last article, right? So with respect to these articles, the first 3 articles are highly significant from the perspective of mains. As I mentioned here, the first article, it is highly significant from the aspect of mains GS2, and the second article, it is for mains GS3, and the third article, it will be highly significant both from GS1 and the GS2 perspective, right? Now without any further delay, let us dive into the discussion part. So this is the first article, guys. New bills and principled codes for criminal law reforms, right? So here with respect to this article, the author is G.S. Bajpal, and he is a Vice Chancellor in National Law University, Delhi, right? And throughout the article, he is throwing some positive notes upon the recently proposed reforms in the criminal law front, okay? And here in the image you can see the government, it actually enacted a bill in the Rajya Sabha for Indian Penal Code and for Code for Criminal Procedure, then Indian Evidence Act. So these 3 provisions, it is going to get changed by the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita bill, and it is going to replace the Indian Penal Code, right? Then we are having Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita, and this is going to replace Code of Criminal Procedure. Then Bharatiya Sakshya Bill. So this one is going to replace Indian Evidence Act. With respect to the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita Bill, it will be having some 356 sections. And right now in the Indian Penal Code, we are having 511 sections. Okay. So 175 sections in the existing Indian Penal Code, it is going to get amended. Whereas we are going to add some 8 new sections into the enactment bill, and the 22 sections, it is going to get repealed from the current Indian Penal Code. Meanwhile, with respect to the Code of Criminal Procedure, here you can see the Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita, it will be having 533 sections. So right now we are having 478 sections in the Code of Criminal Procedure. Then it is proposed that 160 sections going to get amended under the new bill. Then with respect to the Code of Criminal Procedure, we are going to add another 9 sections, and further 9 sections it is going to get repealed, right? And with respect to Indian Evidence Act, it will be having 170 sections instead of 167 sections what we are having in the Indian Evidence Act. Then 23 sections it is going to get changed, and 1 section will be added, then the 5 sections will be repealed. So this is what the government proposed with respect to these bills. And as the bills have the potential to shape future criminal law, the issues of sustainability, efficacy, adherence to the rule of law, and justice delivery capacity are paramount. So this is the author's quote in the article. Then guys, with respect to these three bills, especially the Indian Penal Code and Indian Evidence Act. So these two acts, they were proposed during the colonial regime, and the provisions what they are having is highly draconian, and it have been taking a toll on individuals' freedom. So that's what the government mentioned, that it is going to refine the provisions what we are having in the Indian Penal Code and Indian Evidence Act. And moreover, I hope you all will know, we are having several provisions which have been appearing in the newspaper for their draconian provisions, like the Sedition Act, right? So in the proposed bill, it all going to get refined, right? Then with respect to these three bills, it is too early to decide whether the bills will cause large scale changes in the legal landscape. And we all will know, with respect to the legal reforms, the Law Commission, they repeatedly saying that we need to do a reform in Penal Code, Evidence Act and Criminal Procedure Code. Why? Because if you are seeing the pending cases in the court, it have been mounting like anything, right? Almost we are having 30,000 pending cases in Supreme Court itself. So we need to refine the provisions what we are having. Then only we can reduce the load, and meanwhile we can ensure the right punishment for the criminals who involved in some illegal activities. Okay, so this is what the core idea behind the proposal of three bills, right? Then the success or failure of a criminal law reform hinges on their inception, formulation, resilience and farsightedness. So with respect to these three proposed bill, it is not going to be a one-time measure. In the future also, we will be doing a refinement further. Okay, then only we can infuse the values according to the values present in the society. So before 10 years, if you are taking adultery means, it will be considered as a crime. But today, as per the Apex Court judgment, adultery, it is not amounted to a criminal offense. And meanwhile, we are considering adultery as a civil offense these days. Okay, so this is how society will be changing throughout the timeline. Moreover, we are also supposed to do a change in the provisions what we are having. So in this context, the government, they proposed three bills for replacing the Indian Penal Code, then the Code of Criminal Procedure and Indian Evidence Act, right? And with respect to the author, he is throwing some positive notes. In our previous discussions, we had discussed some negatives about the proposed bill, but in today's discussion, we are going to discuss some positive aspects of the proposed bill. The first positive aspect with respect to the bill is, it is going to foster gender inclusivity. So it is not only going to ensure the equality between male and female, but it is also expected to ensure the equality for the trans and LGBTQ genders. Then secondly, the proposed bill, it is going to replace certain terms what we were using previously. Example, unsoundness of mind. I hope you all would have seen in Lakshmikant polity the unsoundness of mind, right? So it will be considered as one of the provision to remove judges, right? So with respect to the proposed bill, they are going to replace the unsoundness of mind with the mental illness. And moreover guys, with respect to these three bills, we are not getting enough factual information related to the provisions which are present in the bill. Okay, so in upcoming discussions also, we will be seeing the same topic again and again. There we will be getting more number of points. Okay, then with respect to the proposed bill, they are going to integrate the information communication technology with the criminal justice system. So right now we are having CCTNS, right? So the crime and criminal track record system. So in the future, it is proposed that they are going to integrate all the aspects of ICT, and it is expected that they will be infusing AI in the criminal justice system. So the nabbing the criminal issues in the society, it won't be any harder than now, right? Then fourthly, the exclusion of attempted suicides and adultery from the penal provisions. So it is aligning with the Apex Court decisions. I already told you, I think in the year 2018, the Supreme Court, they declared adultery as a civil offense. Previously, we were considering adultery as a criminal offense, but in that judgment, they came up with the declaration that adultery as a civil offense. Okay, so it is expected in the proposed bill they are going to lift certain penal provisions related to the attempted suicides and adultery. Then with respect to the seditions, I hope you all will know 123A, right? So here they are going to introduce some culpability constraints. We can't execute any accused as a seditioner under the provisions what we are having. In the future, there will be certain protocols to file a sedition case upon any individual. So these are all the few positive notes he have been making. Then we all well known in today's context, the terrorism, then organized crime, then mob lynching, they all have been occurring in society, and these issues, they were not present in the society when these provisions came into existence. Like in the year of 1860s and 1890s, we were not having any issues from the terrorism, organized crime and mob lynching. But in today's context, due to some polarization, the mob lynching have been occurring in a rampant rate, right? So this is what he have been mentioning. There are several new offenses which have been prevailing in the society. Therefore, we need to take certain cautious measure to nab the criminals who are involving in these criminal activities, right? Then lastly, the proposed bill, it is going to reform certain provisions in the existing act, and it will curtail the potential misuse by functionaries. So the core principle of the penal provisions is to reform the person, right? But in today's context, we all well known, due to some bribe and corruption, the protocol, the government apparatus and the existing protocol, they have been misusing the provisions against the rights of citizens, right? So these issues and all will be eliminated from the society. So this is the author's positive note over the proposed bills. Then with respect to the expectations, author is stating that he is expecting the proposed bill, it will be having some provisions related to victims' right and participation in a court. Then he is also expecting some provisions related to hate crime, bail and sentencing framework and legal aid in pending bills. So in these domains, the common man, they don't have any voice. So that's what the author has been expecting, that the proposed bill, it should have some provisions related to these domains. If we are having some provisions related to victims' right, meant especially the vulnerable people like women and all, if they are having some right from the aspect of victim means, then it will empower them in the floor of court, right? So this is what he has been stating. Then in the conclusion, he is stating that the reform must foster the rule of law and it should fortify the pursuit of justice. So as I already told you, the proposed amendment or the proposed bill, it won't do any refinement within a day. It will take lot of time and we will be facing lot of glitches in the implementation of the provisions what we are going to implement. So in future also, these glitches, they need to be removed from the provisions, right? So it will take lot of time and it is a dynamic process rather than a static process. So this is what the author have been concluding in the conclusion, right? Now with this note, let us move on to the next article, guys. This is the second article, guys. Understanding the Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change, U-turn. So we all well known in the recent past, the government, they came up with one proposal under which they were thought of clubbing all the environmental organizations into a single integrated organization. Because with respect to the infrastructure projects, it have been taking hefty time for the clearances and all. So that's what the government, they came up with this initiative, but it attracted the criticism from the environmentalist. So that's what the government, it withdrawn its position from the proposal what it had taken before. So the article, it have been discussing why the government had withdrawn its proposal. So here in June, the Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change, they issued a notification to quietly walking back on its move to establish integrated regional offices by merging offices of the Forest Survey of India, NTCI, the National Tiger Conservation Authority, then Wildlife Crime Control Bureau, then Central Zoo Authority. So with respect to these organizations, we need to know what is meant by the Forest Survey of India. They are a scientific body and they are involving in collecting the data related to the floral domain and the faunal domain, and they are compiling the data and they are involving in the research. So this is the basic functions of the Forest Survey of India. So basically they are a scientific body. Then we are having NTCA, the National Tiger Conservation Authority, and it is an administrative body. So the NTCA, it came into existence through the amendment of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, and they are monitoring status related to the Project Tiger. So they are basically a implementation body of the Project Tiger. Then we are having Wildlife Crime Control Bureau. This Wildlife Crime Control Bureau, they actually have been collecting the intelligence, and they are actually preventing the poaching in the wild, and they are also collaborating with the international agencies to enforce certain provisions to prevent the trafficking of the wild animals. So this is the basic function of the Wildlife Crime Control Bureau. Then we are having Central Zoo Authority. So the Central Zoo Authority, we all well known, they have been acting as a watchdog for the zoos which are present in India. So we don't know how the Environment Ministry, it came into the proposal, because all these bodies, they are having different disciplines and they are having different domains. Therefore, the environmentalist, they stated that the clubbing of all these environmental organizations would be unfeasible, and it would take a toll on the environmental governance and the forest related governance what we are having till the enactment of the Wildlife Forest Act 1972. Okay, we were having several projects and several enactments, so it all will be affected. So this is the voice of the environmentalist. Now let us discuss what did the ministry's plan proposal. As I already told you, their proposal, it attracted huge criticism from the environmentalist. So the NTCA, the provided example is one among many criticism of the environmentalist. So the state and forest government, it would become toothless. So this is the foremost concern of the environmentalist. For that they stated, NTCA right now they are having power to oppose the clearances for any linear projects in the tiger reserve. So if the NTCA, if it is clubbed under the integrated body means, then they won't be having any enforcement power, or they won't be having any power to oppose the clearances. So in the reformed structure, it was expected that the NTCA will be under the Deputy DG of Forest. So the Deputy DG of Forest, he will be having a commanding power, right? So the NTCA, it will lost its hold in the environmental governance. So this is the example the article have been highlighting. Then what does the new notification propose? It plans to integrate regional offices. So let's say the Bangalore regional office, it will hold jurisdiction over 3 states and a union territory. Example, the Karnataka, Kerala, Goa and Lakshadweep. So these all 4 regions, it will be under the oversight of Bangalore regional office. Okay, so this is a foremost concern, and it have been creating repercussions from the state government apparatus. Then last month, the government announced a plan to merge Project Tiger and Project Elephant. So with respect to the Project Tiger, we are having a legal backup. But the Project Elephant, it is a centrally sponsored scheme. Under the Project Elephant, we are also monitoring the captive elephants and the elephants which are in domestic ranges. Okay. But with respect to the Project Tiger, we are having a legal backup, and we are having NTCA to oversight the implementation of the Project Tiger. So the government, it proposed to merge the Project Tiger and Project Elephant. So this is also not feasible. So these are all the few concerns the environmentalists have been voicing over the proposals. Now with this note, let us move on to the next article. This is the third article, guys. Why is Bihar's caste-based survey facing legal challenges? So before getting into the article, we need to know some basics about the census. So census, it was started in the year of 1861. So it was a non-frequent survey or a non-synchronous survey. So since 1881, we are conducting a synchronous survey, which means for every 10 years, we are taking a survey. So the last census, what we were taken is 2011 census. But till 1931, we were following a caste-based survey. So each and every caste and their representations all will be collected. Okay. So the Mandal Commission, it came into existence in the year of 1979, right? So Mandal Commission, it came into existence in the year of 1979. They used the factual information of the previous surveys. So they had taken certain data from the 1931 survey, and they stated that India's composition, which means the population composition, will be having some 52% of the OBCs. So the OBCs, they are having a share of 52% in the India's population. So this is the factual information the Mandal Commission had arrived. So based on this fact, the government, it proposed 27% reservation. Okay. So since then, since 1979, most of the state parties, they actually polarized the OBCs and the SC STs for their vote bank. We all well know the BJP, they came into power using the Hindutva politics, right? Previously, each and every political party, they were garnering votes from the OBC, SC and ST. But the BJP, it actually attracted the people from all the domains using its Hindutva politics. So in this context, the Bihar government, they came up with their proposal of the caste-based survey. And the caste-based survey, it actually faced a challenge in the Patna High Court. So the Patna High Court, they uphold the Bihar government's ongoing caste survey. Then the opposition parties or the opponents, they went to the Apex Court, and the Supreme Court is set to hear on August 18th. So it is expected that the Bihar government, it has been stating that the population of the OBCs, it will be around some 80 to 85% throughout India, which means in the future, the BJP is expecting that the state parties, they may utilize the potential of OBCs in garnering the vote bank. So this is the concern of the BJP. So that's what they have been filing the petition against the Bihar government initiative. Okay. So this is what the entire article have been discussing, and we all well known in the future also we will be getting an article related to the Bihar's caste-based survey. So let us wait and watch what is going to happen, right? So far the discussion what we had is sufficient. Now let us wind up this article here. Let us move on to the next one. This is the fourth article, guys. Vishwakarma scheme will aid 30 lakh artisan families, right? So this is the fourth article. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, it approves the scheme with an outlay of 13,000 crore, and it was announced by PM in his Independence Day speech, and it will give craft persons a credit support. So under the Vishwakarma scheme, we are going to cover some 18 traditional trades such as carpenter, boat maker, armorer, blacksmith, hammer and toolkit maker, locksmith, goldsmith, then potter, sculptor, stone breaker, cobbler, mason, basket mat, then broom maker, coir weaver, then traditional dole and toy maker. So kindly go through it, but it won't be needed from the perspective of exam. So under the Vishwakarma scheme, government is going to roll out a credit lending scheme. So it will be having some two tranches. So in the first tranche, the credit support will be between 1 lakh to 2 lakh. Then in the second tranche, they are going to provide a concessional loan at a rate of 5%. So this is the brief note of the entire scheme, and here they are going to emphasize on skilling also. So they are having some stipend program. Each and every person who are going to enhance the skill under the scheme will be provided 500 rupees per day, right? So this is the brief of the PM Vishwakarma scheme. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, they approved the PM Vishwakarma scheme with a financial outlay of 13,000 crore, and it will be available for traditional artisans and craft people from 2023 to 2024 and 2027 to 2028. So the scheme is a sunset class. It is having a sunset class. So there are two variants of schemes are there. One, the scheme which are having a sunset class, and another one, those who are not having a sunset class. Sunset class means the scheme will be implemented for a particular timeline. With respect to the PM Vishwakarma scheme, we are going to implement the scheme only for 4 years. So from the financial year 2023 to 2024 to 2027 to 2028. So this is the timeline we are going to implement the PM Vishwakarma scheme. Then PM Vishwakarma scheme, it aims to strengthen and nurture the Guru Shishya Parampara or a family-based practice of certain artisans, which means it is expected that the PM Vishwakarma scheme, it will be promoting a skill transfer between a father and a son or between the members among the family. So this is the vision of the PM Vishwakarma scheme. Then it tries to improve the quality, and it is going to expand the reach of the products as well as with the integrated with the global value chains, which means, let's say, if we are making some artisan goods in Uttar Pradesh, and it is expected that under the PM Vishwakarma scheme, it is going to expand the transit of the goods from the Uttar Pradesh. So it may reach Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, or it may go to the international market. So this is how the PM Vishwakarma scheme, it is going to expand the footprint of Indian artisan goods. Then under the Vishwakarma scheme, they are going to provide a certificate, a ID card, and a credit support up to 1 lakh rupee. This will be the first tranche, and under the second tranche, they are going to provide 2 lakh rupee, which will be at a concessional rate of 5% per annum. Okay, so under the PM Vishwakarma scheme, it is expected that 30 lakh families, they will be getting the certificate, ID card, and then credit support, because we need to find the beneficiaries, right? That's what we have been providing, the ID card and certificate under the PM Vishwakarma scheme. Then with respect to the skilling, there are going to be 2 variants of skilling. One which is for the basic level, then another one is for the advanced level. So in the advanced level, we will be providing a stipend of 500 rupees per day for the people who are going to undertake this scheme. Okay, so this is the brief of the PM Vishwakarma scheme. So guys, the scheme is a centrally sponsored scheme, and they are going to strengthen and nurture the Guru Shishya Parampara, which means they are going to ensure the transfer of skill between the father and son or among the members of the family. Then they are going to expand the reach of the products. Then the government, they will be providing a certificate, ID card, then credit support. Then under the scheme, we are going to have 2 variants of skilling program, one for a basic level and another one for a advanced level. For the advanced level, we are going to provide 500 rupees per day for the people who are going to undertake the skilling program, right? So this is the brief of the PM Vishwakarma scheme. Now let us wind up this article here. Let us move on to the next article. Guys, this is the last article, guys. Cabinet note for 10,000 electric buses in 169 cities. So the government, they are going to expand the fleet of green mobility in India, right? And before getting into the article, we need to know what is meant by ease of living framework. So ease of living framework, it has been releasing by Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, and here you can see the weightage. So 35% weightage we are giving for quality of life, then 50% weightage we are giving for economic ability, then 20% weightage we are giving for sustainability, then citizen perception survey, it accounts for 30% weightage, right? So these are all the 4 subdomains we are having under the ease of living framework. And with respect to the ease of living framework, the Bangalore, the city Bangalore, right now we are calling it as a Bengaluru, right? So Bengaluru, it tops the first position. Then secondly, we are having Pune. So Pune is in second position. Then thirdly, it is for Ahmedabad. So Ahmedabad occupies the 3rd place, right? So to enhance the ease of living parameters in the urban landscape, the government, they came up with a new initiative to infuse some 10,000 electric buses in 169 cities. And the scheme name is PM E-Bus Seva Scheme, and it has an estimated budget of 57,613 crore, of which the center will provide 20,000 crore, and the rest of the funding will come from the state governments. And 181 cities without organized bus services will get green mobility infrastructure. So this is the proposal what the government have been making under the PM E-Bus Seva scheme, right? And with respect to the scheme, we need to know what are the issues we are having from the aspect of the Indian urban region. So with respect to the transport, we don't have any ease of transport in the urban landscape. Only 30% of the urban landscape we are having well-connected mobility platform, right? So this is the first issue we are having in the urban landscape. So the ease of transport is unavailable in many points. Then guys, the second one is last mile connectivity. With respect to India, we are not having a well-connected transport network, as I already told you. So the last mile connectivity is very poor, and it have been taking toll not only on the commuting of the laborers, but also in delivering the goods and services, right? So with respect to the last mile connectivity, you need to know each and every productive labor, they have been wasting 3 hours every day in commuting between their workplace and their home. So for each and every labor, we have been losing 3 hours every day, which means we will be losing billions of dollars in commutation itself. Then the last mile connectivity, it is also taking a toll on female labor participation rate. With respect to the female labor participation rate, we all well known, before 2019, it were around some 35%. Then during the lockdown, it went down to 19%. Right now, it have been surging around some 26 to 27%. So if we don't have the last mile connectivity means, then the female labor participation rate will be obviously low. Why? Because the families, they won't allow female to commute for a long distance, right? So this is one of the prime concern. Then thirdly, the vehicular emission is exceptionally high. Almost 80% of the fleet what we are having today is a IC engines. So the emission will be very high and the footprint, the carbon footprint also exceptionally high. So there comes the necessity of the green mobility. So that's what the government, it stated that it came up with the PM e-bus Seva scheme. With respect to the e-bus Seva scheme, as I already told you, it is a centrally sponsored scheme. So generally we are having two variants of scheme. One is a central sector scheme and another one is central sponsored scheme. With respect to the central sector scheme, the government will be providing the 100% funding under the scheme. And with respect to the centrally sponsored scheme, generally it will be in a parity basis. So 50% of the funding will be coming from central government and the rest of the 50% funding will be coming from the state government. And for the special states, the funding, it will be around 90% from the central government and 10% from the state government. So this is how the funding mechanism will be working for the special category states, right? Then under the e-bus Seva scheme, we are having two segments. Under the first segment, they are going to deploy some 10,000 buses in 169 cities. And these 169 cities, they will be having a population above 3 lakh, right? So 10,000 e-buses we are going to get deployed in the fleet. Then in the second segment, we are covering almost 181 cities and here we are going to upgrade the existing infrastructure, which means we are going to develop a multimodal transportation mechanism. Let's say the metro stations and the bus stations, they all will be connected together and they will be providing us seamless commutation between the workplace and the domestic place. Okay, so this is how the second segment is going to function. Thirdly, the initiative, it is going to focus on bus priority, then infrastructure, then multimodal interchange facilities, then automated fare collection systems and charging infra. For automated fare collection system, as we all well know, we are having an elaborate UPI structure throughout India. So it won't be any more problem. With respect to the bus priority, we are going to procure highly efficient electric buses for the fleet what the government has proposed. Then they are going to develop an infrastructure. They are also going to develop the infrastructure for both the e-buses and the existing buses, which means the IC engine buses. So under the e-bus scheme, they are going to develop a charging infrastructure in each and every city. As we have seen, in 181 cities, they are going to develop a charging infrastructure. Then I already told you about the multimodal interchange facilities, right? Now, what is the criteria? What will be the criteria for the e-bus Seva scheme? Cities with 3 lakh above population will be covered. So under the e-bus Seva scheme, we are going to develop an infrastructure and we are going to infuse a green mobility into the cities which are having 3 lakh above population. Then it is expected, the government is expected that it is going to create a direct job creation of 45,000 to 55,000 jobs. Moreover, indirectly, it is expected that the job creation will be above 80,000 mark. Okay, so this is what you need to know with respect to the e-bus Seva scheme. Now guys, let us wind up the article discussion here. Let us move on to the question section. But before getting into the question section, let us have a brief recap on what we have seen in our today's discussion. The first article, it is related to the 3 bills in the criminal law front. Then second article is related to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Okay, so this is the second article we have seen, and in that we discussed why the government had reversed its stand. Then thirdly, we have seen an article related to Bihar's caste-based survey. Okay, so this is the third article we have seen, and here we have seen the challenges what it have been facing. Then fourthly, we have seen an article related to Vishwakarma scheme. Okay, so this is the fourth article we have seen. Then lastly, it is an article related to the green mobility. So these are the 5 articles we have seen in our discussion. Now let us move on to the question section. So this is the first question for you. It is a mains question. Critically examine the challenges in Indian urbanization and elucidate the measures the government can take in this context. So I hope it would be an easy question for you. Just you need to elaborate the challenges, and here the keyword is critically examine, right? So you need to critically examine the challenges what we are having in the urban India context. Then you need to elucidate the measures what the government take forward, right? So this is the question for you. Just try this question and post the comments. This is the first prelims question for you. Consider the statements related to the Vishwakarma scheme. So it is a centrally sponsored scheme. As we all well know, it is a centrally sponsored scheme, and the funding will be coming from both the central government and the state government, and it will be providing concessional loan to the artisans, right? So under the second segment of funding, they will be providing concessional loan at the rate of 5 to 7%. Then the third statement, it ensures the GI tag to artisan products. So it will be expanding the footprint of Indian artisan goods, but it doesn't have any provisions to ensure the GI tag for the artisan products. So we can eliminate a third option. Only 2 statements are correct. So answer option B is the right one for the question number 1. Then consider the following statements. NTCA is having power of enforcing the legal provisions under the WPA Act 1972. So NTCA, it came into existence through the Amendment of Wildlife Protection Act, and moreover they are having enforcement provisions. Okay, so NTCA is having enforcement power and they can do enforcement under the Wildlife Act 1972. So the statement 1 is right. Then second statement, Forest Survey of India is compiling the status of both floral and faunal species. We all well known the IUCN status, right? So the data to the IUCN will be provided by the Forest Survey of India. Under the Forest Survey of India, we are having Botanical Survey of India and the Zoological Survey of India. So they will be collecting the data from both floral domain and from the faunal domain, and they will be compiling the data under the Forest Survey of India. And the data, what it is getting compiled under the Forest Survey of India, will be dispatched to the IUCN, right? So both the statements are right. Answer option C is the right one for question number 2. So finally, we are arriving at the end of the discussion. I hope you would like this discussion. Kindly press the like button. Subscribe to ForumIAS in all social media platforms. Let me catch you in another discussion tomorrow. Bye.